Hello, everyone. It's morning here in the Pacific Northwest, 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning, but I know some of you are tuning in or will be listening in later where it will be afternoon or evening. So hello, everyone. I'm just giving you a few minutes to tune in. I am live here on YouTube as well as on our Blue Light Movement page on Facebook. So if you are not a member of the Blue Light Movement page, you can just hop on over to Facebook request. It's right under Blue Light Movement and request to become a member. We have almost 2,000 people in that group. So I do this talk for the Blue Light Movement once a month, the last Saturday of every month. And right now, here we are at the end of August. We are just really kind of slowing down through summer, and we're just really about ready to move into September, where we're going to be having the fall equinox. So many of you may be asking, this talk is healing the tectonic plates of the earth. So many of you may be actually wondering, why are we talking about the tectonics of the plates of the earth? What does that have to do with the blue light movement? What does that have to do with the awakening expansion process of consciousness, unity consciousness, group consciousness? So that's what I'm going to be touching on today. And then we're going to be doing a meditation where we're going to join together. We're going to do some healings on some of the tectonic plates in the earth to just try to help calm them down, to help soothe them. So I'm going to be the blue light celestial beings are asking that the information that I deliver or they deliver through the frequency of this talk is all about helping you to understand that in the 3D realm, you are an individual, but in the 5D realm, you are highly connected to everything. So we're going to be talking about that. So good morning, good morning, good morning, all. So I see there is quite a few of you on, and if there's anyone watching live on YouTube, if you go ahead and pop in and just say hello so that I know that you're there. So we're going to be on from 8 to about 10 to 9. So you might want to grab a piece of paper and a pen so that you can write some notes here so that when we do the meditation, you'll know which of the 7 major tectonic plates you wish to tune in and offer a healing energy to during the meditation. Okay, so my name is Nancy Rebecca with Intuitive Mind. If you haven't heard me talk before, I had a major psychic awakening 28 years ago where I was minding my own business as a nurse, and next thing you know, I am acutely aware that there is a spiritual world right in alignment with our physical world. So I was actually almost like this kind of doorway opened and I could see both worlds at the same time. 28 years later, that has not changed. As I move through the world, I can see the spirit world and the earthly world at the same time. But it was in 2017 when, during a meditation just a few years ago, blue beings of celestial light came into my room and said it was really time for us to really expand even more, that we are more than just our human body, which you hear me talk about that often. We're also kind of more than our spiritual body as well, and that we are connected to, we influence, and we are influenced by the planets and the earth and the trees and the waters and the animals and plants, everything around us. So good morning to you all. Okay, where do I start? Well, let's start with you as the individual. So let's just say you're walking along and you can feel as if someone is walking up behind you, and you turn around and you take a look and you can actually see someone is coming up. So how would you have known this? Well, you know this because you can feel their energy. As a matter of fact, sometimes you can feel their energy quite strongly, and you make that decision to kind of step off to the side so that they can pass you. So that's being influenced and noticing intuitively those individuals around you. How about driving in your car down the highway and suddenly you feel like you need to kind of look at the car next to you, and the passenger in the other car is just kind of staring at you? How did you know that? Because you could actually feel their eyes on you. You could actually feel their energetic influence. So this is kind of what we're talking about at this human level. And right now, we predominantly on the earth are very 3D dominant. That means very humanly dominant in how we move through the world and how we think. I'm just kind of thinking about my grandson, going to school, and I'm really kind of focused on this new high school he's going to be going to, and he just moved here to the area. So there's lots of kind of movement around his moving here, and I'm thinking kind of in a very kind of small, contained way. But what the blue beings of light want us to know is that even in those kind of smaller, contained experiences that you are having on the earth right now, you are being highly, highly influenced by the planets and the earth as well. Hello, Rebecca. Thanks for popping in on YouTube to let me know that you're there. So your family is kind of like a little microcosm. I don't know if they call it them. Yeah, microcosm, small, of your family is kind of orbiting around you. You are part of kind of this orbit around your family. Your community orbits around you. Your work life orbits around you. You orbit around them. So there's always this kind of energetic movement that is kind of propelling you forward, kind of moving you together, moving you apart. You may move outside of the orbit of your family. You may move closer inside. So you all may notice in kind of your orbital realm throughout your life that there's this kind of shift and movement within your family. The same is with the planets and the stars, and it's the same how the planets and the stars and the blue light influence us here on Earth and influence the tectonic plates. So why did the blue beings of light want us to talk about this today? Because, what did I write? Oh, because in September, how could I forget this? September, which we're just moving into next week, October and November are going to be high frequency months where kind of the astronomy of the planets, the influences of the celestial light can really enhance the capacity for us to have more earthquakes. There are earthquakes happening all the time on the earth. There are different apps that you can become a member of that you can kind of check in. So I highly recommend that you do that after this call so that you can stay really attuned to where the earthquakes are really active, where there's kind of this expansion in the earth, this contraction in the earth, where the tectonic plates are moving. Then not only are we having planet Earth, but we're also having the stars and the universe and the sky. Though they're influencing each other, but the weather is also influenced by all of the events that are happening. So I just wanted to share a couple of stories with you. And the first story has to do with, it was maybe about 15 years ago. I was in my office. I had a brand new client, had never met before, and we were sitting there and I was tuned in spirit to do a reading for her. It was a woman. And as we were getting into the reading, a past life came up where she had a shamanic practice of helping, thousands of years ago, and had the power to influence the weather and influence the sun and the stars and the clouds and all of this energy movement. As a matter of fact, like in South Africa, when I lived there, they have a rain goddess who's a Sangoma who can influence the rain. And there's only, one main one, and she will travel around when there's droughts because when her presence is around, there's a higher likelihood of rain. So the only reason why I'm explaining this is because, as the Blue Beings of Light said, they want you to understand just how powerful of an influencer you have the potential to be during this great time of change. So in this reading, as we were kind of going through that past life, the example that was coming up was that she could influence when the sun would come out and illuminate the earth. Well, right when I said that, it was like the sun came out from behind a cloud and my whole entire office filled with sunlight. Well, then I said, then you could influence the rains. You could call in the clouds, the rain clouds to rain. And as soon as I would say that, through spirit would say that, then all of a sudden the room would become very dark, as if the sun had just gone behind a really thick cloud. Now, if this had just happened once, it could have been a high coincidence, could have been something really funny that we laughed about, which we did. But every time I mentioned the sun would flood the room. Every time I mentioned the clouds, the room would go dark. This happened about 12 times within her reading. That is when I began to realize we are much more connected to everything than we realize. We are influenced by the stars, the earth, the weather. But this is what I want each and every one of you to hear. You also influence the stars, the earth, and the weather. And we're talking about global warming. That was one of the big things that the Blue Beings of Light mentioned, that with all the news, it sounds horrible that, and we're quite frightened about global warming and that it's going to get overheated and the whole, our whole earth is going to become something like Mars, this really hot planet that nothing can live on, and they kind of question, did Mars used to be, kind of a utopia like Earth before global warming happened there? So what the Blue Beings of Light are asking you to remember is that you can influence global warming as well. If enough of us with our consciousness on the planet can come together, that we can help shift and adapt by healing ourselves and by healing past generational traumas, historical traumas that have happened over and over again for thousands of years. That we can help by that. And we can also do it intentionally, which is what we're going to do in our meditation today. So the second story I wanted to share was we were on a trip. I think it was probably 2007. My memory's trying to get sparked here. We took our very first group to South Africa, and it was a small group. I think there were 8 of us total. And I think 6 of them were Canadian, which still blows my mind. We had Yvonne and I and our 6 Canadians. So we kind of made this drive from Cape Town, which is on the West Coast, all the way over to Durban, which is on the East Coast. So we made this drive across. But when we arrived in the kind of the area of KwaZulu-Natal, which is a province, we were able to meet Sangomas there in this little town, and we were able to arrange for all of us to get readings where the bones divination, the bones are kind of thrown onto the mat so that the ancestors can give you insights. So there was one particular woman on our trip, and she went to sit down, and it was quiet in that room at the time she went to sit down. And as soon as the Sangoma threw all the divining bones onto the mat, these clouds started to gather, these really dark clouds. I mean, and you could start to hear the thunder start to rumble, and started to get some pretty large raindrops that started to happen. And as the Sangoma is reading the bones for, she was this Canadian uh, woman, they said, you have a high influence over the elements. You have a high influence over the elements. Now, by this time, it's a tin roof, and now hail is starting to happen. And the woman said, I have an influence over the elephants. And so we've had a big laugh about that one, because she kept hearing elephants, and the Sangoma kept saying in their strong accent, elements. And as the Sangoma keeps trying to tell her, no, it's not elephants, it's elements. I mean, there was hail, there was thunder, there was lightning, there was sideways rain. And then after the bones reading was complete, it's like the clouds went away and the sun came out. So it was like the universe in that 5D realm was really wanting to show this woman the power that she had to change the weather, the power that she had to influence the sun and the stars and the earth. And so what happened after that is we were in our van, and we got caught in a very thick fog, very thick fog. It was so thick that literally someone was having to kind of walk 3 feet in front of the van to kind of let us know to keep going so we wouldn't run off the road. And we were in the mountains, so on one side was a sheer drop off. It was pretty frightening. So we asked, jokingly, we asked her if she could influence the fog so that we could see. We thought, well, if she can influence the elements, let's see what she could do here. And so sure enough, she set the intention to raise the fog, and this thick fog lifted about 20 feet high. It's almost like picking up a curtain and looking out the window, or picking up a blanket and getting out of the bed. Suddenly we could see, as far as the eye could see, we could see that blanket of fog, and she was able to hold that up until we got on the other side of that fog bank, and then she was able to let it down as well. And then most recently on our Ireland trip, we had big clouds were coming. Ireland is on an island, and so you can have 5 different weather patterns come in over a period of just a few hours. And we were out looking at the stone circles, and Maria O'Farrell Carr just asked that the rain hold off. And then I remember her saying, okay, they've held it back as long as they can. We've got to quickly get back to the bus. As soon as we got on the bus and in our car, there was just a huge downpour. So why am I telling those stories? Because some of you who are listening in today or listening to this recording later have noticed, maybe unconsciously, but hopefully we're going to wake this up at a conscious level a little bit more, that you can influence weather patterns, and you can be influenced by the stars and the earth. So again, there is enhanced potential for earthquakes. That's why today we're going to be focusing on the tectonic plates. So when we're thinking about ascension symptoms, if you're just simply focused, like I am, on my grandson getting into the high school that he's applied for, and as grandma, I'm just focused on what do we need to do and school shopping and getting his courses lined up, that's very small kind of human thinking. And yet, and we are still influenced by the bigger world that's going around. So you can feel headachy, you can have stomach aches, anxiety, nervousness, you can have bone pain, you can have blurry vision. And if you listen to my talk on Thursday about the September frequency forecast, we're having time warps, quantum leaps, and dimensional jumps that we're going to be experiencing as well. And this is because that 5D realm is getting super, super, super activated. So that's why the blue beings of light wanted us to talk about the tectonic plates on the Earth at this time. So, many of you might know what tectonic plates are, and I'm going to invite you to explore a little bit more after this talk. You can find YouTube videos on it. You can really educate yourself on it. But it was like 50 million years ago. I don't know how anybody knows a date of this, but you get the point. It was a long time ago that there was one mass land of a continent, one, and the rest of the earth was water. And as the tectonic plates are about 70 miles deep. So I loved it when one of the scientists gave an example that if you were to drive from the top of the earth and you were to drive in your car to get 70 miles deep, it would take you a little over an hour to get to the other side of the tectonic plates. So within that realm, it's just underneath the crust of the earth, are these plates that move back and forth, expanding. Like when you take a deep breath in, so go ahead and take a deep breath in right now, your lungs expand. Now, imagine that you can really feel the breathing of Mother Earth. And as Mother Earth kind of takes that deep breath in, you can imagine the tectonic plates are moving apart. And then as you exhale and your own lungs collapse, see if you can sense and feel the tectonic plates can then move together. So 250 million years ago, one landmass, but there's these tectonic plates that are moving. And when they come together, mountains are formed. And when they move apart, the deep crevasses of the ocean floor, goes deep, deep, deep. And so that's where it's going apart and coming together. So to me, I kind of liken it to the breathing on the earth. There are 7 major tectonic plates. Now, you may live near one of these tectonic plates, but the blue beings of light said, you may live in the Pacific Northwest and you're influenced by the Pacific plates or North American plate. However, your ancestors may have lived in Africa or lived in Europe or South America or Asia. Your ancient ancestors were influenced by those plates in the earth. And so you may feel more drawn to do healings on those tectonic plates. So there is the Pacific plate, the North American plate, the Eurasian plate. So I'm saying these to see where you kind of feel that little niggling inside of you, which one you seem to be tapped into and most influenced by, even if you never thought about it before today. So Pacific plate, North American plate, Eurasian plate, African plate, Antarctic plate. Yeah, Antarctic's very active right now. Indo-Australian plate, and then number 7, the South American plate. Now, there's about 20 tectonic plates in the world that are, these are the major ones. Then you have minor and then very microscopic ones. And then I'm kind of hearing that we have some new ones that are forming. So the tectonic plates are influenced by the stars and by the planets and by the suns. We are influenced by all of those things as well. You have the earth that orbits the sun. And it's interesting, I've been hearing some things that they're saying, does the earth orbit the sun or does the sun orbit the earth? So, as we go into the 5D realm, we're going to be discovering loads and loads of new scientific data. So kind of keep your eyes and ears open for that. So the earth, you as an individual, to say me as an individual, you are influenced by your orbit of the sky. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. All of those planets influence the earth and the movement of the earth. So whatever magnetic pull, you know, whatever movement you are influenced by those planets, that's astrology. So in astrology, you can, you have an astrological sign. Some of you are really into astrology and some of you have never really paid it much attention. I highly recommend that you start paying attention to it. Look up under Google search or whatever search engine that you have or whatever book you want to look into. Look at the magnetic influences of each of those planets in our orbit to see how you're being influenced and how the Earth is being influenced. In the 5D realm, we really feel that. And so as you're moving from that kind of 3D consciousness to 5D consciousness, you are awakening to the truth that you are have an extended connection, mass connection to the entire universe. And you influence that, and the entire universe also influences you. So it's like, oh, I have a stomach ache. Oh, I have a headache. Oh, I need to go to bed. Did I eat the wrong food? Did I get upset, emotionally upset about something that kind of triggered the headache? So that's very, very kind of small thinking, because sometimes some of you can feel the rumbling of an earthquake, even if on the Earth's surface, on a seismograph, it only shows up as a level 2 or 3. Some of you can feel that and are influenced by that like an ascension symptom. So again, and then now Orion's belt. I want to talk about the constellation of Orion. And the reason why I'm going to talk about the constellation of Orion is because when the blue beings of light said that these enormous columns of blue light were going to be coming in to enhance the vibrational frequency of Earth to go through an awakening process, we definitely know that the Great Pyramids of Egypt are aligned with Orion's belt. Aligned with the constellation of Orion. And then we have the planets of Sirius A, Sirius B. We also know of the star beings Sirians. We also know of the star beings of the Pleiadians. So there's a lot of different influences of star beings that come from those different planets. When we went to China in search of the blue light, and that first surge came through in 2019, I didn't think that there were pyramids there, only to find out that yes, there are. And those pyramids in Xi'an, China are also aligned with Orion's belt. And then in 2021, where I was told through a prophetic vision that the next surge would come through in 2021, and that is the pyramids, Sun Pyramid, Moon Pyramid at Teotihuacan and just outside of Mexico City is also aligned with Orion's belt. So then when I was told that in 2023, which is next year, that the next blue light surge would come through the pyramids in the southwest of the United States, my first response was, we don't have pyramids in the United States. And the blue beings of light just came back and said, and many of you have heard me tell this story, what has been hidden will be revealed. So remember, the blue frequency dissolves illusion, illuminates truth. So we're going to do a blue light meditation here with the tectonic plates. But remember, the blue light dissolves illusion and illuminates truth. And we are seeing this illumination of truth and justice and beauty and healing on our earth as many illusions are being revealed. So I didn't know. I kept waiting. Where are these pyramids going to kind of magically appear? Now, if you look up pyramids in the Southwest, you are going to find an old story, I think from the 1920s, where a hiker had discovered some Egyptian hieroglyphics and Egyptian artifacts and things like that. And so that's kind of been this folklore, kind of mythical story for a long time. But you can imagine my shock when I found that. I thought, how is that possible? And so later on, when I did my little deep diving dig to find out the truth of that story, it's very questionable whether it's actually true or not, or whether someone made up the story to try to get a lot of people to that area. Who knows? But do your own deep dive search and you decide for yourself if that's true or not. However, where they said that the Egyptian hieroglyphs were in the Southwest, and I think it's in Arizona, in somewhere in the Grand Canyon. They even have a peak called Isis, which is an Egyptian goddess. That's also near Hopi land. So just most recently, someone recommended that I read the book. It's called Orion Zone. So you can look up that book and read that as well. It's kind of highly technical with longitude and latitude and all the locations in Hopi land of all of the three main mesas, and then the smaller sacred points that really align with the entire constellation of Orion. So it's called the Orion Zone. Highly recommend that you read it. But they have done interviews with the author on the History Channel and YouTube, so you can also do searches there to get some more information. But I only recently found that out, that the three mesas are aligned with Orion's belt, the Orion constellation, and the planets of Sirius. So that's in Arizona, is where that location is. So I'm actually going to Utah. I was supposed to go to Arizona in search of this location, and my plane flights got changed, and lots of things happened. And then someone shared a dream with me that they were going with me to Arizona, and that this voice came through and said, turn around, don't go in that direction. So I took that as a sign that I need to kind of cancel that part of my trip until it's more of a right time. But I did look at Arizona clairvoyantly, psychically, and I saw that there was kind of this big kind of rift underneath the surface there. So there is an Arizona tectonic plate that is highly active right now. There's a lot of movement that's happening. So this blue light surge will tend to kind of come through sometime in November of 2023. So stay tuned on this page. I'll keep talking about that. So what was I going to say about that movement? So every time we have a blue light surge, there is a big growth on the planet. But as that surge goes to the earth, it radiates out into our atmosphere. It goes back out to the stars, and that radiance influences the stars as well. And so again, that activity deep inside of us, you are having ascension symptoms as you are growing and expanding. The earth is a live spiritual being that is also going through an ascension symptoms, and is also going through growth pains. So remember, what the blue light beings were showing was that there was one continent, and then as the tectonic plates moved just underneath the surface of the earth, 70 miles thick, that as it began to move, all the continents kind of separated into different land masses around the world surrounded by water. So the earth is actually, the continents are moving 2, 3, 4 inches a year. So they're in constant movement as they grow and change. One of the little videos that I watched was when the land mass that is known now as India moved slowly towards Asia, and as it hit, the two land masses hit, that Indian continent ended up pushing, which is what created the sacred Himalayas. Oh no, now I know what I was going to say. I know what Spirit wanted me to say. So sacred sites are formed when the tectonic plates move and shift, and there are surges of magnetic forces or absence of magnetic forces. And this is why our ancient ancestors built sacred sites on these high vibrational frequency, holy, sacred pieces of land. Now, as the sacred sites, tectonic plates move, new sacred, holy places can emerge, can rise to the surface. I remember when I was in North Carolina and I was there in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and it was just like the vibration was so high. I had to meditate on it. Spirit was telling me that there is a shift from Sedona, Arizona, where it's in the fifth dimensional realm. There was a big shift in movement where in North Carolina, it was really moving to the fifth dimensional realm there in the Blue Ridge Mountains. So there's always these shifts and changes. So there's almost in Arizona, there's like this kind of dormancy that has happened as this land was super, super sacred. And then it's almost like everything kind of went underground, went under the earth, and are waiting for this illuminating time for everything to come to the surface. So you can definitely get more information about the Hopi prophecy. I don't know much about the Hopi prophecy, and I am not even saying at all that this blue surge of light is in alignment with the Hopi prophecy. However, they do have a lot of stories about the blue Kachina, and that the blue Kachina is a blue star being that came to the earth to lead the Hopi people. So just relax for the rest of the day on Saturday, because you're just going to be having a great time looking up all of this stuff and just having these aha moments as they all come together. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do a meditation. So you can go ahead and get yourself pretty comfortable, have your paper and pen next to you, because I'm going to read the 7 tectonic plates that are, aligned with all the continents in the world that are moving. And then you're going to choose which tectonic plate you want to heal today. When I thought about kind of healing that rift in Arizona, I was guided not to do that, that's very sacred land of the people there. And if without permission, doing that without permission, just isn't okay. So that there's a lot of sacred prayers in that land. And so I know that we can influence it in a big way. So I was guided not to influence it, that there's going to be lots of ceremonies and lots of dances and lots of coming together of the sacred holy people there, and they're going to be doing their own healing. So we'll choose other plates. All right, so I'm going to mention it again before we go into, so you can choose which one you're going to do some work on to help ease ascension symptoms of the earth. All right, the Pacific plate, North American plate, Eurasian plate, African plate, Antarctic plate, Indo-Australian plate, and the South American plate. So choose one of those that you're going to work with today. All right, so go ahead and close your eyes, and let's learn that we can have a beautiful, beautiful influence over calming ascension symptoms in the earth. So go ahead and close your eyes and turn within your own physical reality of your body. Let your body know that you're going to be channeling a larger amount of blue light today than you have before. So just give your body a little heads up. You're going to be channeling this blue light through you at a higher level than just the human level. Say hello to your own spirit, your higher, wise self that is fully conscious of our united connection to the cosmology of our planets, our universe, our earth. Now, because you're going to be working with some big energy, call in ascended masters and the angelic realm, spirit guides, spirit animals, whatever feels comfortable for you. The blue beings of light, the celestial blue beings, call in kind of your spiritual team to encircle you, to support you, to help you hold that grounded container as you're working with some big energies of the tectonic plates. I heard someone say, how do I do that? It's very simple. It's just intention that you can just ask, can I ask for the presence of the blue celestial beings of light to be in this room with me? It's as simple as that, and support me in this healing. Beautiful. Now call in the blue celestial light that's way up in the cosmos and invite this blue light. It's just as simple as that. Say, I am calling upon the blue celestial light of consciousness to flow all the way down through all the layers of the cosmos into the earthly realm with me, into the room that I'm in. Give permission, if you're comfortable with it, to invite the blue cosmic light. It's like a lapis cobalt blue to infuse through the top of your aura, filling up your aura. Just drink it in like a dry sponge. And then allow that blue light to move through the top of your head, activating your own consciousness, your own abilities to influence and be influenced by the greater expansiveness of awakening. Let it flow, that blue celestial light, all the way down through your body. If you feel any resistance or tightness, just drop that right down. Just let it go. Let's take a moment of quiet as this blue flows all the way through your body, down your arms, out your fingertips, the palms of your hands. Let it flow through all of your chakras, your meridians, your pressure points of activation, vortexes in your body. Be activated by the blue light. down through your hips, down through your legs, opening your feet as the blue light surges through your entire body, all the way down, first to the center of the earth. There are blue crystals at the core of the earth, so allow that blue celestial light to begin infusing and activating those blue crystals. Intend that the cosmic blue light in union with the blue earthly crystals then begin to illuminate and fill up the entire earth with this radiant blue light to help soothe, heal, calm the transitions Earth will be going through in September, October, and November. I keep hearing someone say, I don't know what I'm doing. How do I know what to do? So I'll simply tell you, use your imagination and pretend, make it up. Let yourself be guided to just be playful. As the earth is shifting with this healing blue frequency, can you feel it in your body? Maybe yes, maybe no. Nice, nice. So we've got that started. So now just keep in the consciousness of your mind which tectonic plate, major plate that you have decided to work with today. So this is, I'm going to teach you a little thing that I do that helps me to kind of know how the tectonic plate is going. So I just send some of my energy and I pretend it's like an elephant's trunk, which now I'm laughing because of my story having influence over the elephants. But I imagine it's an elephant's trunk and that trunk is going to extend down and it's going to find the tectonic plate that I'm working with. And then I use that little feeler energy to feel around to see if that tectonic plate is maybe rumbling a little bit. Maybe it's quiet and calm. Maybe it's got some really jagged movement to it. Maybe I could feel it sliding back and forth. So let's take about 30 seconds of quiet as you pretend that you can actually feel the tectonic plate that you're working with deep in the Earth's crust. ask yourself on a scale from 1 to 10, how active is the tectonic plate you're working on right now? With 0 being not active at all, very calm, very peaceful. Maybe 1 is just a little tiny shimmering back and forth, or maybe 10 is very, very actively agitated. Now, simply bring through that celestial blue light to begin flowing through the tectonic plate, flowing all around the tectonic plate, healing, being intentional about it, healing and calming the tectonic plate. As any agitation, strain, earthly ascension symptoms might feel uncomfortable in the tectonic plate, you're going to continue to infuse it with the celestial blue light until it calms. Don't overthink it. Don't overwork it. As spirit, with all of those guides around you, it can be easy and effortless. Feel the gratitude of Mother Earth as she thanks you for assisting. Big shift just happened. There's a couple of more little shifts that want to happen before we finish up here. All right, there's another one. We're just waiting for one more shift. There it goes. All right, so just take a moment to settle in with yourself. Allow yourself to remind yourself that you are in a human body and you're going to, what I call it, sky down. Calm down from that surge. Allow the surge of blue light to lighten up a bit at this earthly realm so you can feel more comfortable throughout the day in your human body. And whenever you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. And you can make some notes about the tectonic plate that you were working with. So our time together is coming to a close. The hour is almost up here. So it is my hope and the blue star beings' intention is that you have a larger concept of your place in the world between the 3D and 5D realm. I invite you and ask that you will write down in the comments section after this call is finished. You can please go back, write down which of the tectonic plates you were guided to work with and what you noticed. Was it active on a scale from 1 to 10? Put in the comment section what the name of the plate was. On a scale from 1 to 10, how active did you notice that it was? And then as you were influencing it with blue light, what were you noticing? So please, there's about 31 of you listening in live, and as those who will be following along later on at the recording, please write in the comments section. It'll be fun for all of us to be able to kind of track that. Just a couple of other things. We have the fall equinox coming up. The link is here. Psychic Mastery 1 only opens up for registration once, 2 or 3 times a year. It'll be opening up at the end of September, so you can put your name on the waiting list as well. And then tune in next September 6th. I'm flying to Utah to go to one of the hottest active UFO sites in the world right now, really drawing in all kinds of scientists. My mother and I are going. So I'm going to be giving a talk about that on not next Thursday, but on the week of the 6th. I think it's on the 8th of September. And then when I get back on the 15th, I'll talk more about what kind of experiences we had there in this highly paranormal UFO portal type area. So I'm going to have one of my earthly experiences there to help me understand more. So thank you. Someone's already posted San Andreas plates, Mexico, active at a 4 to 5. And I'm going to assume the 1 to 2 was after you did the healing. So that's beautiful. All right, everyone, thanks so much. You're popping on. I'm going to love reading your comments. Thanks, everyone on YouTube as well for tuning in this morning. So again, know that at the end of September, I will be giving another talk about the blue light, but every Thursday I give a talk about a variety of subjects. So thanks again, everyone, to helping Mother Earth soothe and calm her own ascension symptoms as you also support yourself through your own. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye.